Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today is time to take a look back at Brilliant Stars and what's happening to the prices. Because a week or so ago, I told you don't buy Brilliant Stars. Just do not buy Brilliant Stars singles. And the reason was incredibly simple. We had the pre-releases with those lovely build and battle kits. We hadn't had the actual release. And I told you that every year we see this, or every 3 months when we have a new set, we see that the pre-releases happen and people spend crazy money on the new cards. And then within a few weeks, couple of months, the prices absolutely crash. And the wonderful news, ladies and gentlemen, is that is already starting to happen. Things are already getting way better than they were, and that is absolutely lovely. And the thing is, I showed you this in the previous video. So if we take the alternate art of Mew V Max, for instance, if we look at it in November when Fusion Strike came out, people were spending $300 or more on that card. By Valentine's Day, February the 14th, just before the release of Brilliant Stars, that had come down to about a $70 card. And the difference between those prices is absolutely stark. Why would you pay $300 or more for a card that you could pick up a couple months later for $70? Now, and this does really bear in mind, you got to remember that there are sometimes reasons. You just really want the card early, you want to get it graded early, and like I've said in previous videos and will hopefully try and remember to continue to say, if you want to get the card early and you don't mind paying over the odds, you go for it, ladies and gentlemen. No judgment here, I'm just giving you advice. If you're happy to pay over the odds, you go for it, ladies and gentlemen, you go for it. But if we take a look at some of the cards from Brilliant Stars, let's take a look at Arceus V Star, the gold version. This is... honestly, it's not trending as high as a Charizard, but it probably should be, quite frankly, because it's a gold version of a phenomenally playable card. And I showed you the other day that there were sold listings. I didn't show you all of them, I just showed you 3 in a row. And we had one that was sold for $125, one that was sold for $127.50, and one that was sold for $134.28. Basically, it was about a $125-ish card. Now, that was on February the 13th. I'm recording this on I'm recording it early in the morning in the UK on March the 1st, so the most recent sold listings we've got are from February the 28th. 15 days later, call it 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, that card has gone from $125 to $60. The last 3 sold listings on eBay are $60, $60, and $66. They all sold yesterday. That means that the value of that card has halved in 2 weeks. And when I come on here and I give you my videos where I'm telling you stop buying singles, it's not because I'm trying, every so often somebody's like, you're trying to manipulate the market. No, that's just weird. What I'm doing is I'm telling you that it's too early. And if you want to go and buy them, you go nuts. But if you can wait, it's the way to do so, because again, and this is 2 weeks later, yeah? Brilliant Stars has just come out. The official release was Friday, and we're sitting here on Tuesday. So the value of this card is going to keep going down. This is probably not going to settle at a $60 card. And again, this seems too cheap to me, honestly. There's only one gold V Star in the entire set. I would have expected this to come, honestly, not down as far as it has. But the pull rates in Brilliant Stars look good. And even though Arceus is superbly playable, now I will say, and this is very important, keep an eye on this card. Because this is a card we're going to be looking at today where it's incredibly playable. There is a very good chance, and certainly the early results are looking like it, that we might be seeing this being the best, or at least one of the best decks in the format, and this is the gold version of it. So just keep an eye on this one, ladies and gentlemen. There is a chance this one could end up being a bit better. Over on PokeStats TCG, over on Twitter, and if you're not following them, you really should be. They are great for tournament results. They had a tournament, or published the results of a tournament that happened at the weekend. The first 100-plus player tournament with Brilliant Stars. And you'll notice 4th place, Tanner Kaplinger with Arceus Duraludon. 7th place, Ricardo Pereira Calabroni, sorry for the pronunciation, with Arceus Duraludon. And in 8th place, we had Taylor Lowe with Arceus Moltres. 3 of the top 8 were Arceus V Star decks. We then had 4 Mew Genesect, and a Dark Boxer won the whole thing. Yay! Beat both the Mews in Top Cut. My point is, it looks like Arceus may well be a very playable card. So even though the prices are crashing, this is one that could start sneaking up again in the future. You have been warned. But we also had a look at the Charizard. So we can look at the alternate art Charizard V. That is one that people are going to absolutely love. And for my money, right, this alternate art Charizard V is just, the artwork is absolutely phenomenal. And when I showed it to you the other day, it was a $300 card. Now, we didn't have any confirmed prices, but I showed you there were 3 that had best offers accepted, 1 on $290 and 2 on $300. So we're talking about a $300 card. When we look at it now, what are the last 3 solds? What we've got is $190, $180, and $190, though that was a best offer accepted and sold for a little bit less. Now, I see this as the opposite of Gold Arceus. Gold Arceus I could see going up as physical tournaments come back, and they are coming back very soon, and people want the gold version to bling out their deck. This Charizard ain't that playable. And to be fair, if it becomes really playable, this price will shoot up. But at the moment, that's not seeming like the case. Charizard V Star is not setting the world on fire. Yes, that pun was deliberate. And it's still holding at $190. Now, let's be clear, that is still $100 less than it was selling for just 2 weeks ago. You could have waited 2 weeks and literally saved yourself $100. But I could see this one coming down further. Again, you know, the alternate art of Mew V Max, and the alternate art V Maxes are harder to pull than the alternate art Vs, and Mew is the most playable card in the game right now. It is the best deck. I told you 4 of the top 8 the other day, all were Mew Genesect decks, and even the alternate art of Mew V Max is settling down around $70. So, is Charizard really going to stay here? Maybe it will. I can't tell you for absolute certain it's going to start dropping in price. But I will tell you that actually things are... Well, the Charizard, they're not always holding their value as much as you might think. You know, if we look at the shiny Charizard V Max, that's one that was a very, very expensive card. And, you know, nowadays that card, and there's so many graded versions out there, which makes me a little bit sad. But, you know, the last sold of that was a best offer accepted on $140. And that's one where you can't exactly go and buy packs to try and pull it anymore. So maybe this Charizard will stay here. Maybe it'll come down a little bit. But it's already come down by $100 in 2 weeks. And honestly, I would still expect it to come down a little bit more. Although, again, all I can do is predict and tell you what generally tends to happen. I cannot give you actual guarantees of future value. That, ladies and gentlemen, would be stupid. And then we get to the best card in the set, the one which was the most expensive one I showed you the other day, that being the Rainbow Rare Charizard V Star, which, again, it's not actually as hard to pull as the Gold Arceus, but I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, that's the way it goes. And it's still not come down as much as we might like. Last time I showed you, we had 2 listings, one sold for $333, one had a best offer accepted of $350. So you're talking about a $330 card-ish. And if we look at the last 3 solds recently, we got $165.50. A best offer accepted on $225, so it sold for a little bit less than that. And $210. So it's rocking around about a $200 card. Again, we're still talking $130 less than it was just 2 weeks ago. This is another one that I could see coming down in price a little bit. You know, if your shiny Charizard V Max hasn't settled at above $200, I'm not entirely sure why this one would. I would still expect these Charizard to come down. Maybe the Charizard hype is real. Maybe it's going to stay stupidly high. But I do rather suspect that this is still going to come down a little bit. And basically what's happening is exactly what we suggested was going to happen in the previous video. I'm only looking at, the free proper chase cards here, but we could go and repeat this with any other card in the set, and what we would find is that the prices are just not sustainable. We see these ridiculous prices coming around in the very early days of the set, when the pre-release first happens and people get super excited. And then the prices tend to crash pretty dramatically and pretty quickly. And honestly, I would still be hanging fire. If it were me, I would still be hanging fire because I still think these are going to come down a fair bit. I don't think these are holding their values. What I will say is, and this is kind of pleasantly surprising to me and kind of not, those gold Urshifu, they are not holding their value, ladies and gentlemen. Like, at all. Which is kind of annoying because I pull one of these in my build and battle box. But these, just as a little side note before we end the video, they are ending up crazy cheap. I mean, if we look at free solds here, trying to get both of them in the picture, we've got 2 Rapid Strike that sold for $8.50 and $10, and a single strike that sold for $7. How cool is that? I mean, not cool if you pull them, but they are coming very, very cheap. The pull rates for them must be pretty gosh darn good. So this is making me very happy because they're really cool cards. I've got one of them. I'm going to be honest, top of my head, I can't remember which one I pulled. Single strike, maybe? But now the other one is going to be pretty affordable, so I think I might go after the pair of those. That seems like fun. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know if you pulled any of these cards. I want to know if you sold any of these cards. I want to know if you bought any of these cards. I want to know if you're still waiting. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.